This is the story of a man. He was on the verge of making it big. He was committed, willing to do whatever it took for his company to succeed. He found himself consumed by his work, 12, 14-hour days. He joined professional organizations to expand his contacts. Even when he wasn't working, his mind was always drifting towards his work. It wasn't just his occupation, it was his preoccupation. There were missed dinners, missed soccer games, and missed opportunities to watch his children as they were growing up. But it wasn't like he didn't want to be home with his family. He wanted to build a nice life, a comfortable life, even a little cushy life. Perhaps so his wife wouldn't have to pinch pennies all the time. He was doing it for them. Couldn't she see that? Late one night, he was awakened by this twinge in his chest, and his wife made an appointment for him to see the doctor. His blood pressure was 190 over 110. His cholesterol was much too high, all the classic symptoms of a slight heart attack. He joined a health club, started working out. After a while, he started to feel better, but since he was feeling so good, his motivation began to dissipate. After all, working out and eating right takes time, and that was one thing he had little of. Oh, sure, he recognized things were way out of balance. Occasionally, he thought about God and church. He intended to go sometime, but Sunday morning is the only time he can crash. Besides, he can believe without going to church. There'll be time for church when things settle down. One day, a new client contacted him with the chance of a lifetime. The client was on the verge of making it big, but their software couldn't keep up with the company's demands. They needed a complete systems overhaul. He knew that if this went well, he would be set. He could do this. He knew the market. He could finally relax and make time for his family. He had every contingency wrapped up. He sent his wife to bed and sat down to finish up a few loose ends before calling it a night. She woke up after a while, rolled over, and, not surprisingly, he wasn't there. She looked at the clock and went out to bring him to bed. Cold. She got a sick, panicky feeling in her stomach. She called for an ambulance. His death was a major story in the financial community. His obituary was written up in Forbes and the Wall Street Journal. Too bad he was dead. He would have loved to have read all the wonderful things they said about him. When they held the memorial service for him, because he was so prominent, the whole community was there. They all filed past the casket, and they all made the same empty comments that people always make at funerals. He looked so peaceful. Oh, he was a good man. A master of new technology. He was a man of principle. He would never cheat on his taxes, his expense account, or his wife. His civic achievements were well noted. Innovator, leader, visionary, success. Ah, that word, success. He gave his life for that word. They buried his body, put up the marker, and they all went home. When it was dark and no one was present to observe, unseen, unheard, the angel of God came to this cemetery, made his way to this man's marker, and there traced the single word that God chose to assess this man's life.